Crossing the line, no borders in it. It was summer when I thought of winter. I was losing when I thought of winning. I was praying when I thought of sinning. I just started when I thought of ending. Then I seen a snake and I thought of venom. I see the mic and I fade the shit. I just do it like my favorite kicks. I sold crack back in 86. I was only 12, goddamn, that's some crazy shit. I was outside any weather, y'all. Any weather. I play the phone, what's the weather, dawg? Is it the leather or the feather, dogs? Let a nigga know the smoke spot that we headed for. Ghost, yeah.
What's going on with you?
Ashe. Peace and benedictions.
Man, what's good with my brother?
Peace, family. You know what I'm saying?
Peace. Man, salute.
In,
yep. Salute to those that's tuning in.
Yep. Salute. Shout out to everybody tuning in. Send this shit to 50 people. You know what I mean? So, we going in. We're going back in. To recap, bullshit that we seen last night, from Joint Operation Environment, Biden the U.S. sometime, a.k.a. Robotus, a.k.a. Slow Biden. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
A.k.a. Dementia Man. You know what I mean? Because he's on the precipice of dementia. Let's keep it a bean. You know what I mean? He came in the joint. First of all, Biden must have been on CPT last night. You know what I mean? Because he came in, he was slow as fuck. It took him like 30 minutes to get out to the joint. He's supposed to start at 9 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? I think we lost Belloc. All right, he might come back. But shout out to Belloc from Nigeria. You know what I'm saying? Tuning in with us. He's rocking with us for the duration. He might come back. But Biden, it took him like 30 minutes to get to the podium. You know what I'm saying? He came out looking like he ain't know where the fuck he was at. You know what I'm saying? And apparently he was floundering around, leaving dropping, shit on hot microphones and shit. So he said some shit that if it was Jamie Foxx, he would have to apologize for. You know what I mean? But let's play the clip. Now, let me get my man back. You know what I'm saying? Belloc is back. The connection. You know what I'm saying? Is fucking up. It's all good.
Yeah.
Pope is back. Okay, so we get this connection back. So we're gonna roll this clip of this hot microphone where your man Slow Biden is, gaffing himself yet again, saying some retarded shit. You know what I mean? Like, this dude, he's just walking content. Like everything he does, whether falling off a bike, falling up the stairs, fondling kids, fondling the niggas' shoulders, whispering in kids' ears, all the shit this motherfucker be doing. It's just, man, look, you can't make this shit up. So once again, this man's age and integrity is in question. You know what I'm saying? Because he said some shit that, like I said, if it was Jamie Foxx, he would be in trouble. You know what I mean? So let's play the clip. I was trying to stall to see if Pope was gonna make it back. Let me see if I can help him out. But okay, man, he's still spinning. You know what I mean? He rides.
Yep, there it is. I'm back on.
All right, so all right. So I don't know if you heard what I was saying, but your man Joe Biden, Slow Biden, he made a comment that if he was Jamie Foxx, he would have to apologize. Now remember, Jamie Foxx got in trouble for saying, hey, they even murdered some dude named Jesus, so you can't trust nobody, right? He had to come and apologize because that was loosely sneak dissing the Jews. So the Jews felt like that's, you talking crazy. You need to recant that statement. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So you have the self-proclaimed Zionist president Joe Biden, aka Robotus, right? He
Right.
he says, I'm gonna just play the clip. Let's play the clip. He says some crazy shit. You know what I mean? Now, on the surface level, it might not seem like crazy shit, but we're gonna explain to you why it's crazy.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks for all the ability to follow each other. Don't worry, Mr. This is one of the big great speeches. Really nice. I was telling your secretary, I was in
Look at that ear.
Israel this weekend. You gotta keep pushing what you're doing on the humanitarian stuff. So
I told Baby, I'm gonna get this. I said, Baby, you know I'm gonna come to Jesus. Sir, just
Wow.
That might go good. That was good.
What?
Now, to me, that almost seemed like he did that intentionally. He said, I'm on a hot mic. Oh, that's good. You know what I'm saying? Before we even dig into that. But, all right, why? If he's on a hot mic, then, and he knows he's on a hot mic, then why would he intentionally say what he just said and think that people is not going to draw issue with it? You know what I'm saying? So now think about it, right? Now, I was just telling this to an elder of mine who thinks that he's going to convince some Jewish people to accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. And I'm saying, I said to him, I don't care how much money you think you got, they will get you the fuck up out of their circumference if you keep talking that Jesus shit to them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, all right. So this self-proclaimed Zionist right here, Slow Biden, he says to a Jewish leader of Israel to have a coming to Jesus meeting.
Yeah.
Nigga. Do you realize for a Jewish person how disrespectful that is? First of all, they whole book don't got no Jesus in it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They don't even got Jesus in their book. You know, so they don't even deal with that shit. They like, to them, that shit is just some fiction shit that these Christian motherfuckers made up. To them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you would try to impose your religious views on somebody, it's like religious encroachment. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Same thing that Jamie Foxx had to apologize for, because he said some shit about, of course, about the story about Jesus being crucified, and by the Jewish people that he was going around saving, right? And now even when you think about in the Bible where he had the back and forth, you know what I'm saying, with the Jewish people, and he was telling them like, you are of your father who was Satan. You know what I'm saying? Telling them that they basically from the synagogue of Satan. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you can see how easily somebody of the Jewish faith could draw issue with being told about Jesus. And especially for a Jewish leader to be told to come to a coming to Jesus meeting, end quote.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That in and of itself is reprehensible. That's like telling them to come to a Nazi party or something. You know, come to let's hang out at the gas chamber or something. You might as well just went all the way in. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's not going to go well. You know, I'm pretty sure, like, given what we've seen with this dude, how he's so hell-bent on destroying these people on the Gaza Strip, he don't like Palestinians. Like, we can pretty much factor that. He don't like Palestinians.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because he's not even conscious of the chaos and carnage that he's committing against these innocent people. He's just like, yo, we got to get these Hamas motherfuckers.
Right.
And everybody around him is telling him, son, you wilding. You know, if he was in New York, that's what they would be saying to him. Son, you wilding. You tripping.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So basically, that's what Joe Biden is saying right here. He's saying, in his American Christian doctrinized fashion, son, you wilding. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We need to have a divine intervention for this nigga. But in his filter, he's saying a coming to Jesus moment or a coming to Jesus meaning, which can be viewed as reprehensible to somebody who holds their religious faith steadfast to their heart. You see what I'm saying?
Right. That's like, you know what I mean, going to go bring a ham to a Ramadan feast. You know what I mean? Like, that's not exactly what you know what I mean? Like, nah, this ain't the place for that. This ain't the place for that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, in that, that's overstood.
Right. So I don't think anything positive is gonna come about that, especially with the media already taking this shit and running with it and making it bigger than what it is. You know, for
Right.
him, this is just Friday for him. This is just Thursday night for him. You know,
Right.
he is the president of gaffes. You know what I'm saying? I think he got more
Right.
gaffes and bloopers than any other president that we've seen. Not to mention
Right.
that, like we said the other day, he has broken the record for the only incumbent president to ever lose a primary. Nobody's ever done that before, except for the good old boy that y'all let your slide for in the street and told you ain't black. You know what I'm saying? If you don't
Right.
vote for him,
Right.
you know what I mean. So
Right.
so him talking to Netanyahu like that, who obviously is a fucking Yahoo. You know what I'm saying? Because he is crazy as hell about destroying these Palestinian people. You know, and which brings us to another clip that we want to show, where your man Michael Moore. You know, remember Michael Moore was running down on the shit that Bush was doing. You know, he was a
Yeah.
thorn in the Bush administration. You know what I'm saying, for
Right.
obvious reasons. You know,
Right.
so you pun intended. But
Hmm.
but you know, Michael Moore is at it again. You know, speaking out against injustice and bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And you know, shit that's obviously don't make sense. You know, so
Right.
when we see how these people are so hell bent on destroying these Palestinian people, and like how we talked before in the previous live stream, like probably like a couple week ago or something like that, where we was talking about the pipeline that Israel wants to make, and how they want to sketch out and take pieces of land and make greater Israel, and they're trying to run a
Right.
canal, not a pipeline, but a canal up through where Palestine is now. You know what I'm saying? Which requires them to bomb up and break up
Conveniently
the strip.
so.
Right. That's why you
Right.
seen that's why you seen in this war, quote unquote war, you see these motherfuckers with bulldozers. You know what I'm saying? So they bombing the shit and immediately moving the shit, immediately leveling out the playing field for reconstruction. So that's what you see
Right.
is happening right in front of your face. You know what I'm saying? So
They're getting
this
it done at the
motherfucker,
same time.
right? So these motherfuckers is claiming, you know, this is our enemy, but just like a Zionist president would do. You know, they could use these Jewish people as cannon fodder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To get their point across, or to get their agenda through. You know what I'm saying? And they
Right.
can use the Palestinian people the same way. So the Palestinian people can be viewed as the quote unquote boogeyman, so everybody can get behind what they're doing and nobody question what they do, or nobody question what happens after this military coup. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So let's let's
Right.
let's go into the clip about what Michael Moore is saying. You know what I'm saying, to give further insight to what we're talking about here.
Okay.
Crime, because according to my knowledge of history, the enemies of Israel who have been persecuted, the Israelis, the Jewish people of this world have been persecuted for 5,000 years. But for the last 2,000 years, most of the persecution has come from white, European-centric Christians. That's been your enemy. No Palestinian helped to build Auschwitz. No Palestinian stood on the docks of New York City when boatloads of Jewish refugees trying to escape the Holocaust came here to be protected by this country and were turned away at the docks in New York and sent back to Germany to die. No Palestinian did that. No Palestinian ran the Spanish Inquisition. Your enemy is not the Palestinian people. It is white, Christian, European people who have been slaughtering Jews for the last 2,000 years. And let's just call it for what it is. But why are they in an open air prison? Why are 2 million of them in an open air prison?
He brings some strong questions to the table, and some
Right.
strong irrefutable facts to the table. You know, that made me think about Higher Learning. Remember that movie Higher Learning, and they had Michael Rappaport,
Yeah.
you know, who was mad, you know, about, you know, things that were said about Jewish people, and he came at Kanye and shit. And remember, he was playing a
Yeah.
Nazi. He played a
Yeah.
Nazi, you know, so he didn't care that much about his people to go and play a Nazi. Remember he played the Nazi, and he was saying to the Jewish motherfucker, he said, "Fuck you, you're not white, you ain't white." You know what I'm saying? So they were showing you in that movie that, you know, you have the Aryan race, the, you know, the Iron Cross motherfuckers, those motherfuckers is riding on the Jewish people more than Palestinians. They use
Right.
the Palestinian people as cannon fodder to put their agenda through, so they can claim, just like how we said the other day, they can claim that people who can't afford to buy shoes or properly feed their country I guess they would spend all their money on missiles. And we asked the question, and we still need answer to this question: how much does one missile cost? Those missiles that Netanyahu say came down in Israel and fucked them people up. How much does one of those
Right.
missiles cost?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we seen these people in the Gaza Strip in an open air prison, just like Michael Moore said, in dismay for at least the past 25 years. You know what I'm saying? So what they've been saving, their allowance money to buy some high powered missiles for some one last stand against Israel. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Or is it
We're supposed to believe that.
possible? Is it possible that these people they on some YouTube shit? You know what I'm saying? Man, who was that dude who they accused of shooting himself and uploading a video and saying that he got shot?
Oh, which
You know what
one
I'm
was
saying?
it?
I forget. Yeah,
Right.
right. Which one was it? There's so many people who got accused of doing that shit. But you know what I mean. But basically, this is the equivalent of that. You know,
Right.
because we on YouTube, we got to say it a certain different way. But you know what I mean. It's the equivalent of that. It's possible. It's the equivalent of that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because when you just look at the money aspect, these people ain't got that much bread, yo, and they living
Right.
in the open air prison. So, how much finagling could they do to you know what I'm saying to create an onslaught like that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
How did they sneak that around? How'd you sneak that
right,
around?
right. So when you got this dude who's killed like 30,000 people, most of them innocent people, I don't think you're gonna have no coming to Jesus moment with him. Especially being as though that he don't fuck with Jesus. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? So this shit is crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's all of this shit is crazy. Now, mind you, they still saying, yeah, we need to help these people. We need to give these people money. Now, U.S. is playing both sides in this situation. They saying, oh yeah, we gotta send some money. We gotta send some food to the people on the Gaza Strip. But then y'all facilitate
Right.
y'all look, when the shit popped off, who you think passed the ratchet off to Israel? Israel come in the
Mm-hmm.
room riffing. Yo, man, these Palestinian niggas is talking shit. U.S. at the bar having a drink, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and Israel come up. Yo, man, tired of these motherfuckers. Yo, man, U.S. go in his pocket and slide Israel the burner and say, handle your business.
Right.
That's what happened. And then they go to the camera, right, on some Jesse Jackson shit and say, I don't know what happened. I don't know why the Israel niggas is tripping. You gave him the ratchet and told him to go to handle their business. You know what I'm saying? So they playing both sides of the field where they passing off shit to Israel, right? Same way they passing off shit to
Mm-hmm.
Ukraine, right? But then they turn around and say, man, Israel,
Right.
man, y'all out of pocket, man. Y'all out of pocket for what y'all doing and shit. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's like, when you got all of these things going on, and you got
Right.
people in America going down the shithole, right? Going down the
Right.
shithole, and the American dream is turning into a nightmare, right? For
Right.
even the liliest of lily white people, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Are now seeing this nightmare, right? You got this motherfucker at the strip club with Zelensky like this. You know what I'm saying? Zelensky just
Mm-hmm.
on the pole, just dancing and twerking, and Biden is just like this, just throwing paper at Ukraine. Here, keep
Mm-hmm.
doing them tip drills. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? This nigga
Right.
Biden
With
is
the
a
credit
freak.
card. With the
He's a
credit
freak.
card.
He's a freak. You know what I'm saying? And he can't keep his mouth shut. Unless
Right.
all of this shit is intentional. You know what I'm saying? Are
Mm-hmm.
we not seeing how this shit can culminate to a script? When you got this dude saying some shit that he know you can get in trouble for, and then turn around and say, "Oh, that's a hot mic. Oh yeah, that's good. That's
Right.
good."
Right.
That sounded like they was cutting a promo. At the end of that shit, sound like they cut a promo. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That was a good one.
Yep.
Yeah, they
That
gonna
was a
trip
good
when they
take.
hear this. Right. That was a good take.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that was a
Exactly.
good take.
Exactly. This is just like some WWF, like behind the scenes type shit. Like when they be like, you know, they got the storyline and the camera is following the wrestlers in the back, and the camera is like right up in their face, and they try to act like the camera ain't there. They know good and goddamn
Right.
well it's open hot mic and it's a camera in their face, and they try to act like the
Right.
camera ain't there. Talking about, oh, it's a hot mic. The fuck out of here, man. The whole shit
Right.
is a fucking sham. That's why I was like, all right,
Right.
now,
Look, that's why nobody ran against him.
right.
Because anybody would have won. Anybody. It don't even matter. Little 15-year-old kid, high school. Like, here, I could do better in 4 years. Let me do it. They would vote for him. Might as
You
well.
know, if
You can't
everybody,
fuck it up more than he did.
just think about it. If everybody on both sides, this is a bipartisan issue. This man's age and his well-being and his health is a bipartisan issue. Let's just lay it
Right.
out, flat out. It's a bipartisan issue. Both Democrats and Republicans, independent, whoever, everybody is saying this motherfucker's too old. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's unanimous across the board. So if that's unanimous across the board, then how you don't have not one Democratic candidate to step up and say, hey, we need to think about the future of the Democratic Party. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? We can't have an 81-year-old man, leading the way another 4 years. Come on, man, that's risky business. Somebody got to step up and be the heir to the throne, right?
Right. Anybody. Somebody fresh
So
out
he
of
ain't have
college.
so he just had a beeline straight to the rematch with Thanos.
Right.
This is Infinity Wars. This is Infinity Wars and Secret Invasion at the same time. And that other show, Designated Survivor. Been telling y'all to watch that shit, Designated Survivor, where this is the whole blueprint. If you go back and watch Designated Survivor, they had an ex-president who decided to run again against the sock puppet president. You know what I'm saying? So when you better understand that when you go dig up on that show, Designated Survivor. This is predicated malevolence that we're talking about here. So maybe if we do a follow up to this shit, we'll show some excerpts from Designated Survivor. You know what I'm saying, to further prove the point. But because this is a response to the State of the Union, we do have to deal with the aspect of puffery here. Now, puffery meaning that the U.S. is a corporation through and through. You know what I'm saying? That's why it has a president, and you never see the CEO. So because the U.S. is a corporation, we now have to bring the aspect of puffery into play. When you have the State of the Union address, right? The State of the Union address is when the president is talking directly to we the people. You know what I'm saying? Congress, regular people, everybody. You know what I'm saying? Defending his position, like they said. I did a good job. And here is the stats that I did a good job. So we have to bring into question the aspect of puffery. When a corporation says things that are factually untrue, can it be held liable? You know what I'm saying? So this corporation, that's America, that's saying, oh, they did a good job for the past 3 years, and more than 50% of people would beg to differ, right? We have to bring the aspect of puffery in. So I'm going to play this age-old C-SPAN debate. This is, and I guess you could say this is a part 2 from Throwback Thursday or Flashback Friday. You know what I'm saying? But this is an age-old C-SPAN debate about the aspect of puffery involving a case with Nike. Now, of course, Nike was accused of having sweatshops and having child labor, shit like that. And in a statement that they made, they said that they had healthy, clean facilities, and they don't have none of that fuckery. You know what I'm saying? So of course a lot of people was upset about that. So in the proper putting this in proper context, right? Because that's what this is all about, putting what's happening in proper context. So putting this in proper context of U.S. being a corporation, that's not even an
Yeah.
argument. The U.S. is a corporation. So So if they come out and make statements that are factually untrue, can they be held liable? You know what I'm saying? We're
Right.
gonna go into this video from C-SPAN from back in the day. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna go through this aspect of this case involving Nike and the aspect of puffery. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Oh wait a minute, hold on. That's the hot mic joint. Here we go.
A fun way to end the segment. We'll be back to.
We got a little, what is that? A little technical difficulty, a little bit right there.
Yep. Started over
Hold
from
up.
the beginning. Right there. In the house like a kitchen.
Hold up. Let me put it back up.
Yep. There it is there.
Somebody had to troll me. You know what I'm saying? Shit was
Right.
too much like right. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, right.
here come the troll. You know what I mean? So all right. So we're gonna run it again. You know, try to get it up there. You know what I mean? So bear with the latency. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they might have
Right.
completely trolled me
Gotta go
out.
to outer space and back.
They might have completely trolled me out. Like, nope, you can't run that jump. Because remember, I was saying, damn,
Right.
this shit was fucking up earlier, and that kind of delayed the
Right.
production overall. But
Right. And the start time.
yeah, I don't think it's gonna run. But I mean, I can get it to
Okay.
run though. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I just gotta come back out and come back in. So let me try that.
Right.
So
For sure.
Look, Devo stall him out. While I fix this shit.
Right. Man. What's good, man? It's Pope and ENT. Like I say, we've been doing this for a while. It took us a minute to do this shit. So, like the little break in between, now we just gonna do this righteous. Stay on top of things like missionary. Because while the man's is working on the material, we got a lot of stuff that we got on the table that we finna bring. And like I say, we bringing the table to the table. So that's even more so, like even more so to get in line. Don't lead, follow, or get out the way. Because like we really doing this. Like I said, it was a little small intermission. We can call it an intermission because that's all it was. You slow us down, but you can't stop us. And please prove us wrong. That's all we ask. Maybe like this, because if this is true, if what we're saying is true, it's a whole lot of directions that need to be taken accordingly. Just be responsible. That's all you got to do. Be responsible. And if you're responsible for more than yourself, then pay attention. Cost you nothing to pay attention. We back. If it takes a village, we built this one. So no excuses. I don't know where to go you know what I mean? Yes, you do. You know where to go. The stove was hot when you touched it. So, no more excuses. Excuses and reasons. We'll call the ER for you. That's the ER, excuses and reasons. That's what everybody got. Call a ambulance for you. But no more excuses. Wah, oh, okay. Take you to the ER. Fresh out of care pills, man. These kids have no choice of whether their parents are solid or not. So that's why we do it. Know that. Yes.
Yeah, so just try and fix this motherfucker. You know what I mean? They trolled me
Right.
all the way out. It is what it is. Struggle stream in 2024. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Shout
Exactly.
out to
We remember. That's why we ain't frustrated. We remember. That's
Streamline
what.
fucking around. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Somebody got wind of it. Somebody got wind of it that it was happening. They're
Yeah, they
doing it
said
again.
send a bullet. Send a bullet. Fuck them niggas up. They too much
Paralyze
like
them.
right now.
Right.
But we can still talk about the aspect of puffery. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
puffery, is basically when a corporation can legally lie to you. It's legal cap. You know what I'm saying? Like for
Right.
instance, it's like saying, all right, a company can say, we got the best shit in town. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
All right, like, I'm gonna give you a real life story. Um, uh, Pizza Hut and Papa John's was going at it, and they always really be going at it because Papa John's came in the gate saying, "Yo, we better than Pizza Hut." That was their slogan.
Okay.
We're better than Pizza Hut. You know what I'm saying? So Pizza Hut sued the motherfuckers on that aspect to say, yo, you going around, you shitting on my company name. You know, you saying your shit better than mine and shit. You got to prove it. You know what I'm saying? So they literally had a motherfucker take a blindfold test and eat Papa John's pizza and Pizza Hut pizza. You know what I'm saying? And they found that the motherfucker couldn't tell the difference. So Papa John's basically, when they seen that they was about to lose the case, they switched positions and they said, hey, look, man, it's puffery, man. Yeah, and they admitted, hey, look, man, we know our pizza ain't better than Pizza Hut. But hey, man, I'm just trying to sell my shit. I'm trying to live. You know what I'm saying? It's puffery. You know what I'm saying? So they wound up winning that particular case because they admitted that, hey, man, that's just cap. We just capping. You know what I'm saying? So companies can literally lie to you. They can tell you, oh yeah, we got natural ingredients. You know what I'm saying? And then they got some bullshit in there. They can say this shit is healthy and it will make you healed. Just like the motherfucker Peter Popoff and them motherfuckers selling holy water and shit. You know what I'm saying? How come they don't go to jail for that shit? Because companies and corporations are legally allowed to lie to you under the term puffery. They can puff and inflate they shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically the aspect that we wanted to talk about. I had to reset my phone, so maybe we can get it back on. But we struggle streaming. You know what I'm saying? Pope got he got vanquished to the shadow realm. You know, you know what I'm saying? He gonna come back though.
Right.
My phone got fucked up. But we struggle streaming. So we want to
Right.
talk about, we want to show this video clip, and we're gonna moderate it. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna add commentary to this video. You know what I'm saying? Once we get it up. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
I think Debo stalled him out, as long as we could. You know what I mean? Somebody left a comment right there. I don't know. Pope, can you read that comment?
Let me see. Yeah. Let me try to get
It
this.
said the people need more sincere brothers like y'all.
Brothers
You're
like
still
y'all out there,
on
still
my
one of my
favorite
favorite
platform.
platforms for truth. Yes,
Thank you,
for
man. I
sure.
appreciate that.
Appreciate you.
Tony Keys, appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? You
Yes,
know,
for sure.
man, I appreciate that. Sometimes, I don't even be knowing how to take compliments and shit. I just be feeling like weird and shit. Tunnel vision. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
you can't ease up on the gas. You got to keep going. So we appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? We can't revel in that, but we got to keep giving people what they want. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
let's not
For sure.
let's not let that stagger us. We appreciate that, but let's give you what you want. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So all right.
Right.
And just on that note, if anybody has a topic or something that you want us to cover, even if it was like somebody else did a video or as a topic that we missed or something,
Right.
shoot us an email. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Send it, leave it in the comment or something. We want to provide people proper education, pun intended. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So go to
Right.
popeandnt.com. Check out the library of progress. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Check out all the different villages. So
Right.
these are shameless plugs because this
Right.
is really where it's at. You know what I'm saying? It's about
Right.
integrity. You know what I'm saying? And having the
Right.
integrity to do what's necessary, do what's right, put the
Right.
information out there that's right. Not trying to sell people a key on a slave ship. These
Right.
motherfuckers out here, but if these niggas is on a slave ship, they'd be like, yo, I stole the key from you cash at me and I'll unlock your shackle. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you want the
Exactly.
total package, I'll unlock your feet shackle and your ankle shackle. That's what these niggas is doing. So they'll sell you the key
Right.
to freedom. They don't want niggas to be free. They
Right.
don't want everybody. What's a private jet if everybody got one?
Right.
Some people are a lot of people around you, and a lot of people you venerate are elitists,
Right.
and they're gonna make sure it's a gap between you and them. They don't want to see
Right.
you win. They don't
On
want
purpose.
harmony. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
we got to do this together. You know what I'm saying? Just like the children in the African village that was taught competitiveness. These Saxons, right? These
Right.
Saxons had put together a test for this. I forget what village they was at, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I apologize for not knowing the full mechanics, but I just remember the visual. I'm an audio visual learner, so I remember the visual. So these two Saxons did this study on this village that didn't know anything about competitiveness. They didn't even have a word in their language for like competition or anything that was competitive. They didn't have that because everything was about harmony. So this tribe in Africa was solely about harmony. They did everything together in harmony. So
Yeah.
what they did, what they did to these children, they took and put some goodies at the bottom of a hill, and they said to them, "It's snacks at the bottom of the hill. Go down there and get it." And the kids all held hands and went down the hill together to get the snacks. And
Yeah.
the people would tell them, "No, y'all can't get the snacks." You know what I'm saying? And they literally taught them to be competitive. Like, no, the first one down gets the snacks. And by the time they
Right.
kept doing this series of trial with them, they taught them to be competitive. And they was running down the hill past each other to get the snacks first. But they didn't even have no concept of that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They didn't have no concept of that.
Uh-huh.
People are being taught to be competitive, taught to be at each other's throats, taught to be at odds with each other. You know what I'm saying? And it's counterproductive to your overall growth. So we can't be out here trying to, look down on people. You know what I'm saying? So, that's where the integrity comes from. So that's why we do what we do, because we want everybody to win. You know what I'm saying? I just had to explain that shit.
Right.
But not getting off the topic, I'm going to try to pull this video up again, about this case involving Nike and puffery to give people a better understanding of what puffery is and basically legal lying. You know what I'm saying? And then hopefully you will be able to see all of the puffery and bullshit around you, how companies can legally lie to you, and you should be able to see through the lies. You know what I'm saying? Like these people did. So let's see if we can roll that.
Yes, you're right. 31 years of speculation about this. So a fun way to end the segment. We'll be back to the hotline for more in politics later on the program. Thank you, Von Berbers, as always. Appreciate it. Well, we're going to turn to the subject of the Supreme Court. Today, the court is hearing oral arguments in the case of Nike v. Mark Caskey. It's being called the Nike case, and court watchers are calling it a landmark case. We're going to learn why from two guests, Alan Morrison, who is the co-founder and director of Public Citizen Litigation Group, and Quentin Riegel, who is the vice president for litigation in the National Association of Manufacturers. Alan Morrison, put out the parameters of the case. What's the issue here?
Well, the issue is whether the statements that Nike made about the facts surrounding its plants overseas can be attacked in court as being factually inaccurate, or whether because the issue of globalization is a hot political issue, somehow Nike is immune from going to court and having to defend the factual statements that it made in a context in which the main purpose of these facts is to persuade people, look, Nike is a good company. In addition to good quality shoes, we do the right thing, and these are the true facts, and we want you to buy our products.
Landmark cases, of course, have broader implications than for the company or the plaintiff involved. Why is this important?
Well, it's not clear that it's going to be a landmark case. In part, that's because the case has come up to the Supreme Court without any trial at all. There hasn't even been an answer by the defendant. The defendant, in essence, said, because we're talking about a controversial subject, we don't have to respond at all. We don't have to prove that we are telling the truth, or even that we knew that the facts that we protested were true are in fact not the case. And so the court may be looking for ways to say, wait a second, we took this a little fast, and maybe it's not going to decide as much as many people think it will.
Quentin Riegel, the National Association of Manufacturers, agrees with the Nike position. Why?
Absolutely. Well, this is an issue involving the difference between commercial speech and non-commercial speech. Commercial speech is speech specifically talking about a product, trying to sell the product, touting the virtues of the product. And non-commercial speech is more nebulous. It's the kind of speech that everyone engages in all the time on issues of public importance. And this case is trying to decide what the difference between those types of speech are. And we're just saying, as Nike is saying, that this is not really a commercial speech case. It's non-commercial speech. They're talking about their labor relations. They're talking about their not in this case, but companies talk about their environmental.
I want to pause it real quick. So now you hear what he said about non-commercial speech. So can the State of the Union be seen as non-commercial speech? That's what I want y'all to think about
Right.
when you're listening to this.
Compliance, and those kinds of discussions should be fully protected by the First Amendment.
We're going to open up our phone lines. Lines are divided geographically. If you have a question about this case, because it's a bit complex, if you'd like to voice an opinion on it, we will take all of that. We'll go to the phones in just a couple of minutes. Mr. Morrison, I'm going to ask you if you can make this understandable for the average person watching out there.
Well, let me try. Nike contends that they're talking about a controversial subject. And to some extent...
And the subject in case is whether or not they ran sweatshops as they were producing...
Well, you see, the controversial subject is what should U.S. companies do about labor conditions overseas. Everybody agrees that if Nike were saying, we don't have to pay minimum wage equivalents to what we pay in the United States because these are different economies, that would be fully protected. But that's not the basis of the claim in this case. Nike, for example, said in a letter in June of 1996 to 100 colleges and universities, which are very big consumers of Nike products and also endorsers of Nike products, they said that the charges that we use child labor are completely false. They also say that they pay minimum wage. In fact, they claim they paid double minimum wage. And they also say, you know, we know this to be the fact because we actually have monitors over there checking it out. That's not a debate about a controversial subject. That's Nike telling the American people, these are the facts, and you can trust us and you can buy our products. That's what this case is about, whether Nike can go that close to the line.
So same thing. You know, the State of the Union is being told it as the president's, you know, basically thwarting the trolls and everybody, you know, the naysayers, and saying that here are the facts and you can buy this product. And he is the product saying that you need to reelect him for 4 more years. You know what I'm saying?
Fine. It's true, none of their products say, none of their statements here that are at issue say buy Nike shoes. But if you watch Nike ads on television, and they're hard to miss, at least for those of us who watch sports events, Nike doesn't say buy our products. They have Michael Jordan flying high in the air and people with a lot of sweat on saying just do it. Nike is an image advertising company, and this is part of their image.
Now think about it.
Is this case important to individuals watching here, or is it for investors and companies?
I think it's important for everybody. I think American consumers have the right to be told the truth about products and about companies. And when companies represent that they are complying with, in essence, almost U.S.-like conditions overseas, Nike has an agreement with their 800 manufacturing subsidiaries, or actually.
Now, we're not talking about a country in the conditions overseas. We're talking about this country and the conditions here in this country. You know what I'm saying? So when this person is telling you that things are on the up and up, and you beg to differ, and you have the stats and the proof that say otherwise, can this person be held liable for saying that? And is this non-commercial speech, or is it commercial speech? When you give the State of the Union to display the facts and tell the people to buy your product. See what I'm saying?
Their subcontractors. And in that situation, Nike says, we're good citizens, and these are the specific facts. Americans buy products based on that, and everybody knows that, including Nike, which is why Nike did what it did. The public has the right to have the truth told to them.
Mr. Regal, I'm sure you want to respond to that.
Yes, I agree. This is about getting to the truth. And the way you get to the truth under the First Amendment is to have an open and public debate about the issues. I think if you're talking specifically about the quality of a product, then clearly federal and state laws can regulate that. You can't say a certain product will cure cancer if you know, in fact, that it's not true. But this is talking more nebulously and generically about...
Whoa. Because if that's so, if they told you that you took a vaccine and that shit was supposed to heal you, right? And that shit wound up not happening. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. You see where we going? You know, we had to go left to get at this
Yeah.
motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? But we on your ass right now.
Labor conditions, about environmental compliance, about corporate citizenship. There may be specific instances during the debate that a company engages in where the facts may not be right. And that's why you have a countervailing argument by citizens who know the facts that they can air publicly. So the First Amendment allows that kind of free discussion, and that's what we hope will happen in this case.
Will you talk from your point of view about the consequences for the general public in this case, as opposed to the manufacturers you represent?
The problem, if the Supreme Court says that California can go ahead and allow a prosecution against the company, civil liability against the company for the statements they made, then every company will shut up. They won't say what they are doing in terms of all the compliances that they need to carry out, because they risk lawsuits, class action lawsuits by lots of consumers, even though those consumers may not have actually heard any of the statements, may not have relied on the statements.
So can a class action lawsuit be brought against this government for them lying to us about things? You know what I'm saying? And manipulating us to purchase their product? You know what I'm saying? That's the question here.
Statements may not have made their purchasing decisions based on those statements, and the public debate will be stifled. The public will only get one side of the story.
Somerset County, Pennsylvania, you're first on Nike v. Caskey. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. As a lawyer, I'm interested in how this case got into court. Could you tell us, please, who's the plaintiff, who is the defendant? I think I know who the defendant is. What was the nature of the complaint? What did the complaint allege? How did the parties get into court? How did the case get up to the Supreme Court without an answer by the defendant? What is the federal or constitutional issue involved? I gather it has to do with the commercial speech versus non-commercial speech. But could you just brief us a little bit on the background? I'm a little bit, I didn't hear that in your discussion so far. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Good basic questions. I'm going to have to turn over my chair to you. Well, I'm going to divide them between the two of you. How did the case get into court? Who's Mark Caskey?
Mark Caskey is an individual who lives in California, and he brought a lawsuit under a California law that allows essentially any California citizen to sue for misleading business practices, in this case, false advertising. The suit is against Nike itself, and under California law, at least until this time, the person bringing the lawsuit doesn't necessarily have had to have purchased the product, although there are obviously scores, if not thousands, of people in California who purchase Nike products, and undoubtedly, if that was the criteria, somebody could be found and would be found who would be the plaintiff in the lawsuit. The defendant, Nike, moved to dismiss the complaint before answering, saying, in essence, we are entitled to absolute immunity for our statements here, and the First Amendment, as I put it, a get-out-of-jail-free card. The lower court rejected that, so did the intermediate court, all in California, and the California Supreme Court reversed by a vote of 4-3, and Nike asked the U.S. Supreme Court to take the case, and it did.
Okay, that's how it got to the court and who Mark Caskey is. What is the federal constitutional issue involved?
It's a conflict between the First Amendment, which is in the federal Constitution, and the California statute, the unfair competition statute and the false advertising statute that the citizen brought this claim under. So it's a classic constitutional confrontation over a statute.
Next is Anchorage, Alaska.
Good morning, and thank you very much.
Does lying to the American people during the State of the Union address fall under the false advertisement clause? That's what I want you to think about when you're listening to this.
I think the classic mistake here is that America treats a corporation like a human being, and a corporation has a much greater responsibility for its speech than a human being does. I appreciate Mr. Riegel's defense of the corporation. But this runs parallel to a recent case in Florida involving Fox Network and Mr. Murdoch's dismissal of a reporter because she refused to put a story that she believed to be false on the air. And I believe Fox prevailed under the First Amendment, which is a tragedy. They have the right to say what they want. If we give such a right...
Now remember, they just had a case for the Supreme Court about the First Amendment involving social media.
Right.
And social media just tried to take the position of the news networks. And they said that nobody tells the news what they can put on the air and what they can't put on the air. But, aha, we got proof right here. We got proof right here with this shit right here. So they lied, too. The social media companies, YouTube and Facebook and all, y'all lied, too. You know what I'm saying? And we got receipts. Yep, look, we got all kind of receipts for all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying?
To a corporation, it's like giving a teacher the right to infest the student with known falsehoods and thereby lead them in a direction that's really tragic. I think the laws, as I say, shouldn't treat a corporation as a human being because they have such a much greater responsibility to provide the truth and a product on which we can rely. Thank you very much for the service of C-SPAN.
Thank you. I'd like to hear both of you on this one. Start.
Certainly a corporation has an obligation to be a good public citizen, but a corporation is a group of individuals that are bound together by contract. And individuals, whether they're in a corporate setting or individuals acting alone, should have the same rights to speak as anyone else. So that's the response.
Well, I think actually in this case, the corporations are claiming that they should be treated the same as individuals, and since the rules against corporations suing individuals for libel are fairly stringent, Nike says the same rules should apply to us. I don't think that in a fight against David against Goliath necessarily has to have the same rules as David does.
Let me tell you just a little bit about our guest. Quentin Regal is a graduate of Georgetown Law Center and has worked in the General Counsel's Office of the National Association of Manufacturers since 1980. Alan Morrison is a graduate of Harvard Law and helped co-found Public Citizen Litigation Group in 1972 and has been director 2 stints, the most recent since 1999. Next call for our 2 guests is from Lake Zurich, Illinois.
Hello?
Yes.
I think this is an attack not only on the First Amendment, but on the 14th Amendment for corporate personhood. Corporations have more power than people, and the Bill of Rights was written for humans, not a corporation who is an organization put together by a charter and has more money and more power than people. The Bill of Rights was not written by for corporations. It was written for people. And any law that has come down through the years as them having personhood is wrong because it never was declared so. This is just a power grab by this administration to force corporate power on us. And they have no responsibility.
Mr. Regal, you spoke to that earlier. We have more to say.
Yes, individual citizens can certainly band together on their own, and they do in many cases in the form of class action litigation. So there certainly is a countervailing power that individuals have to join together as corporations do.
Let's do it.
So
let's do it.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, thanks, Mr. Morrison.
I'll let him defend corporate America.
Okay, let's move on to Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yes, hello.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. My name's Matthew Wood, and I'm very interested to see how the gentleman who is defending corporate America has such a lack of ability to articulate when they defend it. It seems in America we have the distinct desire to allow entities that come together and profit and grow and capitalize on their ability to consolidate power, always claim that they're having a hard time doing that when they come in comparison to what an American person has to deal with. I wish I could have my bank accounts in Bermuda and not be taxed like a regular American. I wish I had the WTO and the IMF circumventing indigenous people's land rights so I could sell them water. To me, this is the American people saying you need to be accountable for what you say because there is consequence to those conglomerations and what they say.
And that's what we're
and
saying.
the individual.
And that's what we're saying here in this addendum, is that you need to be accountable for what you say. So when you come on TV and you try to give us a progress report about a failing nation, and you say erroneous shit like the virus stopped COVID. You know what I'm saying? When people are still getting COVID after they got the virus, you should be held accountable for that shit. You know what I'm saying? When you got people walking into the country, just diddy bopping into the country, and they're getting all kind of accolades that people in the country not getting, and then those people are getting jobs before people in the country can find jobs, and then you take those inflated numbers, and then you say, hey, look, our unemployment is going down. That's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And you and that person or that administration or that company or whatever you want to call it should be held accountable. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, before I cut this video on, did you have any sentiments to that, Pope?
Yeah, because basically, I mean, what they're saying is that, you know, they're going to continue to lie through their teeth. They're going to say things that sound good, and they don't have to be held accountable for it. If you want to be like individuals and humans and everything, then we're going to continue to run this play. As long as we're having this discussion. Part of the discussion is that they say that they had this discussion and there was no outrage, there was no outcry, there was no rebuttal. Everybody knows this because they spoke on it. They showed you on C-SPAN. This is us having a discussion about it. It's not our fault that you didn't turn in. You didn't tune in. You feel what I'm saying? So they're like, we said it. We told you. It's written in the book. It's written on paper. It's written in there in the laws. So this is how we're going to run this play. And until you say something about it, you can as individuals, but until you say something about it, we're going to keep running this play. This that cheat mode, you know what I mean, on playing Tecmo Bowl, the original Nintendo, or you know what I mean, further down the line. You just keep throwing Hail Mary passes, keep working. Bam, you know what I mean? Shooting from the corner, you're gonna make the three every time. You know what I'm saying? And until somebody figure out how to block that shot, they're gonna keep on running it.
Right. It's a rigged game.
Right.
You know? It's a rigged game. It's like them rigged games at the carnival. You know what I mean?
Right.
Clamoring to make them responsible for lying. I would suggest that everyone read Manufacturing Consent by Noam Chomsky. I would consider that everyone should watch.
All right, you heard what he said.
Yes.
Read that book, Manufacturing Consent. Write that shit down. You know what I'm saying? If you're watching this right now, take a minute, go get a pen, write that shit down. Go read Manufacturing Consent. You know what I'm saying? Go tell 50 people. Tell 50 people. You ain't got to like us, but you need to like truth. You know what I'm saying? Send this shit to 50 people, because this is highly important. This ain't about me or you or clout or none of that. You know what I'm saying? This is about providing our people with proper information. So take a pen, write the shit down, and get that book. Read that book that he's talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Watch Michael Moore's The Big One, where he goes and asks the CEO of Nike if he thinks it's okay for a 14-year-old to work in his plants, and he says that's fine. I would just like to address these issues that contend that advantage makes advantage, takes advantage, and breaks advantage. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything for that caller?
No, we too at Public Citizen are very concerned about abuses of corporate power. This is, of course, a somewhat different context today, but many of the points that the caller made are certainly very valid and concern, and ought to be of concern to most citizens.
I think really what we're talking about is giving corporations and individuals the same protections under the First Amendment. Clearly, there is an action under the First Amendment. It's not a get-out-of-jail-free card.
Well, they are asking the complaint to be dismissed. That sounds like get-out-of-jail-free to me.
They are, because this particular statute is so broad that it encompasses speech that's protected by the First Amendment.
Maybe we could let the California Supreme Court construe it a little more narrowly and save the statute instead of having judicial activism knock the whole thing down.
My point is that under the First Amendment, lawsuits can still be brought. Companies can still be sued under the First Amendment. It's just a harder standard to meet. If you can show that there was actual malice, that they were clearly lying on a number of points, and not just generally discussing corporate citizenship and those kinds of issues.
Mr. Caskey has laid out a number of quite specific points whether they're paying twice the minimum wage, which what they say, they're absolutely not using child labor, whether they are paying overtime, whether people are able to save money out of these. All of these are very, very specific factual allegations. Mr. Caskey says, we think you're lying about it, and we want to be able to prove it. Nike says, no, this is an important issue about globalization, and we get to get out of jail free.
If they were talking specifically about their product and the qualities of the product and not the general way that they conduct business,
well, wait a second,
that's different. That's talking specific. That's advertising.
Well,
You can regulate advertising about a product and about how it works.
Sure.
But if you're talking generally about how you do business, the accounting firms you use, the way you comply with laws, yes, there may be some mistakes. In 2020, hindsight is clear.
Well, let me give you another example.
That's not actionable, shouldn't be actionable with First Amendment protections.
We have laws in the United States that American citizens are entitled to know where the product was made in the United States. Made in USA label. That doesn't have anything to do with the quality of the product. It may be absolutely indistinguishable.
There's no requirement that they be, be labeled made in USA.
There's no requirement that Nike talk about its conditions overseas.
That's
but
right.
If somebody puts a label on it, they don't have the right to lie.
That's correct.
And neither does Nike have the right to lie here.
And that is specific advertising related to the product. It's a label on the product. We're talking now about letters to the editor, op-eds, letters to university presidents.
Why did they write to university presidents? Because it was, as Mr. Caskey alleged,
attacks that were made against them by individuals in the media.
Campaign. It was a marketing. Indeed,
clearly there's an economic interest in protecting your products and your company.
Indeed, your own brief that you filed in the Supreme Court says that if the principal purpose of the statements is for promotional purposes, then it is actionable. And that's what
everything a company says.
Well, I'm just reading from your brief here, page 15 of your own brief.
That's true. Everything a company says is in some sense promoting the good image of the company, helping the company to promote sales. So definitely there is a commercial interest in a company in making
your
these
brief
statements.
says the principal
But
purpose.
that's okay under the First Amendment.
And your brief says principal purpose, and Mr. Caskey thinks he can prove that this campaign, and these are not isolated statements, the letter to the editor you referred to, that was sent in December. It was in the San Francisco Examiner. It says, and I quote, during shopping season. Now, why do you think Nike said during shopping season? Because people are buying products and they want them to buy Nike products.
Right.
That's promotional.
Of course.
All right. But under your view of this case, that statement is not actionable. And I disagree.
Well,
They want people to
there
vote.
may be instances where it relates more closely to product sales.
Well,
they sell a lot of things besides shoes. They sell
Yes.
all kinds of athletic apparel, and yet and all of those items, the profits from all of those items would be brought into this suit simply because they make one or two statements that turn out later to be challenged and inaccurate. And all the profits from all their products would then be turned over, in effect, to the plaintiffs.
You know, this is excellent because it helps people understand the dynamics of the case, but let me go back to calls.
Okay.
Woodbridge, Virginia. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had a question. I'm not a lawyer, but I believe one of you said, and I might have heard it on another radio program, that it's likely that what the Supreme Court may do is essentially kick this back to the lower court and say, you know, before you make it a First Amendment issue, let's make some determinations on the facts. And I can see a couple, which is one, were these in essence advertising or not? And the second one is, if it was advertising, was it, I guess, what's called puffery, where you can say you have miles of cars even if they don't stretch out a mile? And I was also wondering how you might relate it to statements, for example, that the tobacco industry made for years, that cigarettes didn't cause cancer and tobacco was non-addictive through various organs, various essentially pseudoscience organs. And I'll get off the phone and listen to your answer.
Thanks very much. On the options available to the court.
Well, it surely has that option. I think that the court will probably have to say something about the merits of this case, that having taken it, it probably has the authority to do that. My hunch is it will try to say as little as possible and say to the California Supreme Court and the lower courts, you know, there are a lot of First Amendment related issues in the case about the scope of the relief and what kind of knowledge the company had to have. We leave those for another day because they were not really presented or decided by the California courts.
And on his point about the tobacco manufacturers.
any product, whether it's cigarettes or any product that potentially could have some effects later on down the road, you know, there's studies done all the time. Sometimes the studies come back one way. Sometimes later on they find out they come back the other way. The purpose of the First Amendment is to allow a free discussion of the evidence as it becomes available, as companies reasonably believe it to be at the time they make the statements. And you should.
Hold on. So if that's the case, right? You know, we gotta, for all intents and purposes, we had to pause it. But if that's the case, then why? How the fuck do y'all shadow ban people and take people's videos down and shit and all this shit on social media?
Right.
Well, y'all got your own, and then y'all try to argue the same freedom of speech that you taking from everybody else. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's why that case is important. That, you know what I'm saying, that freedom of speech, the shit that went to the Supreme Court. That's why this case is important right here. That we looking at right here, and that's why the correlation between that shit, this shit, and what happened last night at the State of the Union is all important. You know what I'm saying? When you start watching this video, you probably didn't know where we was going with this, but now you smack dab in the middle of it. Now it should make sense to you now. You know what I'm saying? These motherfuckers don't get the right to tell us that we can't say what we know is true, and then come out here and lie to us, and then get to hide behind some puffery bullshit like, hey, that's non-commercial. Fuck that. You know what I'm saying? That's our response to this fucking State of the Union bullshit and this addendum. So, you know, Pope, you got something else you want to add to this before I cut the...
Man, I'm just saying, man, we pretty much covering it how it's supposed to be, because we're not going to just go ahead and take these things for face value. These people have been perpetrating the fraud, and they full of shit like a porta potty. You get what I'm saying? So the whole thing is like, we're just identifying these things, because like once, if it flies over your head and you missed it, and we're breaking it down for you and to make a little more sense, then we have done our job. Because our job is to let you, we got to give you the information and let you decide for yourself, using the tools that are provided for you to make your own decisions about what it is that you see. You know what I mean? We can tell you what it is we see, and if you feel the same way, that works out too. You feel what I'm saying? In real life. And you can see for yourself, like what it is we're talking about. We're not going to tell you what to think. We're not going to tell you none of those things. But what we will tell you is show you, give you the truth, and then allow you to do what you want with it.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? For real. And we handling our business and taking care of our job right now.
Right.
For real. Philadelphia, California.
Right. And if you don't understand that, that's Philadelphia. That's California to Philadelphia. That's spanning the nation. So we going from one end to the other end. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
From one polar to the other polar. You know what I'm saying? See what I'm saying?
Facts. Yep. And it's a hard road, but you know what I mean? Everybody would take it if it was easy. So we make sure we're gonna do the things other people don't. We just want answers. We just want answers. Validate and verify. Please tell us we're wrong.
So what's that? That's 2,167 miles of truth right there.
Right.
You know, don't quote me on that exact mileage, because you might take a different route. You know what I mean?
Right. Depending on what side, depending on what street you go down, depending on what your GPS says. Right. For sure. Everybody got a different GPS.
Be able to pick a certain point in time when new evidence comes to light to sue the company for statements that turn out to have not been entirely accurate, or in some minds might be considered to be misleading, for all the profits that occurred during the period of time that's within that.
Is the caller correct in his facts that court cases so far have allowed the concept of puffery, where you can say we've got miles of cars, but if it doesn't end up...
Sure. Yeah, puffery is I think it's not uncommon. Companies are trying to sell their products, obviously, but and clearly there are laws that prohibit lying about the quality and purpose of your product.
So this is a unique case in one respect, and that is the facts about which the dispute arises are not in the United States. That is, there are 800 plants abroad. And one of the things that Nike was doing during this campaign, and it was a campaign, there's no question about that, was to say, look, we have our investigators who go out and we check the facts and we know them to be the case, but our critics, They can't even get into our factories, and most of them don't even go to the countries where these products are made. They don't know the answers. Trust us, we do. So this is hardly the kind of offhanded, casual misstatement. This is a campaign, and Nike ought to be held responsible for it.
Langhorne, Pennsylvania, good morning.
Good morning, Susan. I'd like to give you an analogy and have your guest comment on it. I don't buy tuna fish that is not protected, caught in a way that does not protect the dolphins. Now, the manufacturers tell me that in their advertising, and they also put the picture of a dolphin on a tuna fish can. So under that, right, I'll buy their product. Now, right, should a manufacturer be able to tell me that they do protect the dolphins when, in fact, they don't protect the dolphins? And this has nothing to do with the product itself. It has to do with how they catch the dolphins. Now, I don't care about their product. I'm concerned about the dolphins. So is this an analogy? Are they allowed to tell me that they do protect these dolphins when, in fact, they don't, in order to sell me the tuna fish that I want to buy? Thank you.
I can answer that. It's a question of degree. Certainly a manufacturer should be able to put on their label, this is dolphin safe. If, in fact, there is a boat in the middle of the Pacific that happens to catch a dolphin in one of their nets, and it comes to light, then that company would be liable under the California statute because they made a statement that turned out to be false. And then all the profits from the sale of that
statute,
yeah,
not a law. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying to you. Pay attention to the wording here. This dude is a very nefarious character. He is a representative for the nefarious clandestines. You know what I'm saying? This dude right here. You know what I mean?
Right.
Tuna would be subject to litigation and seizure. So it's a question of degree. Companies should be able to have a fair amount of latitude in making reasonable statements that they reasonably believe to be true and not have them second-guessed in court by plaintiffs' attorneys.
Well, in fact, Nike did that very thing. It said, we police this. We recognize that no system is perfect. And as your example, the occasional tuna caught with a dolphin is going to happen. But we promise you that generally we're doing the right thing. I think the caller has also hit onto a very important point, and that is, in essence, Nike says, if you put it on the label, that's part of the product sale, and that's commercial speech. But if you say the same thing 150 times in every other forum, where people really pay attention to it and then they go by it, that's somehow immune. And that doesn't make any sense, and I don't think the caller thinks it does either.
Right.
Court watchers, including the New York Times, are also noting
and that's what we're saying. All right, for perfect example, I got right here, let me see if I got this right here. Spare me for a minute. Hold on. See, shit just be coming into play. So I got right here the Cheryl Parker mission statement for Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? So this is her saying, let me pull this out. Got a whole bunch of shit right here. Maybe it's over there. But this is her mission statement, you know, when I get it out, you know, and I wasn't planning to pull this out. You know, this is basically off the top of the head freestyle shit. You know what I'm saying? So here we go. So this is her mission statement right here, right? So this is what she's saying that she's planning to do. And you know what I mean, her first 100 days in office. You know what I'm saying? Now, because she put this shit in writing, right? And saying, yo, this is what I'm going to do. You know what I'm saying? Consider, you know, all of the things y'all got problems with, consider it done. You know what I'm saying? You know, now, because she represents a corporation, she can't be held criminally liable. But however, she can be held liable in a political sense when if she's up for re-election and somebody says, well, look, the things that you promised us in this book right here, you didn't do in your first 100 days, even if she did it in 100 and 200 days. Yeah, she can be held accountable for not getting this done when she said she was going to get it done. Now, her going on the campaign trail and, you know, and mouthing off and saying these things is different than putting it in writing. Now, so that argument brings us back to the State of the Union. So is the State of the Union commercial speech, or is it like almost like a audible, you know what I'm saying, pamphlet like this?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Is it an
Right.
audible version of this? You're saying in retrospect, I did this. I did the things that are in my mission statement.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
We're
So
doing the
is
thing.
that if that's commercial speech, which it seems like it is, that can be you should that administration or that corporation should be held liable for not being factual. See what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's the basis of the argument right here in this addendum. We want to keep that in focus here as we go down the final stretch with this
Right.
video. So we
Right.
at the meat and potatoes where they're talking about puffery. You're seeing the word magic from the nefarious clandestines. How they navigate through the BS and still get their shit off and lie to people and not be in trouble for it. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
So this is how it's done. You know what I'm saying? This is how all these motherfuckers get away with this shit, even social media. You know what I'm saying? When they can tell you that, everything here is safe and secure, and then your information
Right.
wind up getting stolen, or
Yep.
somebody scam you on a Facebook marketplace or some shit, and then they tell you, oh, they can't do nothing about it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So these things have to be brought into question in all aspects of this, because y'all just can't just be saying things to people and then not be held liable when shit hit the fan.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And all of us have to be about this business, because all of
Right.
us are subject to this. I don't care what you believe, what you call yourself, where you from, where you think you're not from, or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
These
Right.
motherfuckers can lie to you and tell you that this shit is safe when it's not. Now, think about it. They literally just got millions and millions of people to take some shit that you don't even know what the fuck it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You don't even know what the fuck it is, and it had no goddamn ingredients. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yep.
That, that ain't,
And look, Subway didn't even have to have real tuna. They still let that company be in business. That wasn't even fish that was in that food. So if you're allowed to do that with those kind of business practices and still be able to function, something went terribly wrong along the way. That don't make sense. They still haven't accounted for that. Look at tuna. Didn't even have fish in it. Nah, bro. What the fuck was that?
ginger ale didn't have ginger in their ginger ale.
Right.
But they can tell you, oh yeah, they made from natural flavors. So how deep does this rabbit hole go?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When you go into the 7-Eleven and you go into the store, how much of that shit is safe in there?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Pun
Yeah.
intended.
That.
And what we say about a safe can be robbed.
Right. Got to be careful. Can't be safe.
So in all actuality, how much of that shit is kosher? A lot of y'all walk past shit and see it say kosher. Do you know what kosher means? Ask a Jewish person what kosher means. It means fit. Is this fit for human consumption? So that little owl that they say is kosher, that's the only shit in the store that's fit for human consumption. Allegedly. Let me say that. Allegedly.
Right.
If we want to go off of the literal aspect of what's being divulged there. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
let's wrap the rest of this video up. We a little bit past the halfway point, but
Okay.
it's all kind of jewels and lugs in here that and I want people to take their notes so we know how to go about and navigate these things. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We know where to go and what to do and how to attack and defend ourselves against known liars. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because they're gonna get into this this was a big thing back in the day. You know what I'm saying? And not for nothing, they try to sweep this shit under the rug. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
As they call them, strange bedfellows lined up on both sides of this issue in the court case. Here's a little bit of what Linda Greenhouse says. In addition to Public Citizen, among those supporting Mr. Caskey in the current case are California and 17 other states, including New York and Connecticut, Global Exchange, a human rights organization active in the international labor movement, the Sierra Club, Domini Social Investments, which advises funds and individuals on socially responsible investing, and others. Nike's Friends of the Court, in addition to the National Association of manufacture include an unusual range, says Ms. Greenhouse, from the ACLU to the Bush administration to the Business Roundtable, 150 chief executives of major corporations, to organized labor. The AFL-CIO is involved. And you should also note that the New York Times company signed a brief for Nike filed by 40 media organizations who support Nike in this case before the court. Let's go to our next call from Cary, North Carolina. You're on the air.
Good morning. I want to, I'm pro-corporation and usually come down very squarely on the side of the folks defending the corporations. But in this case, because I think we're missing the issue, I think free speech, sure, they had the right to say it, but they have the right to be held accountable, too. I'm in real estate, and we call them material facts. And you can't just say anything. You can. You have the right to say.
Write that phrase down, family. Material facts, because that's important. That's going to be important. Material facts.
It's going to be on the test.
You know what I'm
saying? It's going to be on the test.
Right.
Say it, and then if it's incorrect or wrong, and especially if you knew it was wrong, then it's misrepresentation. And the word that I haven't heard anybody use on this panel is fraud, which is what I think it is. Now, the guy in California, I don't know what his standing is, but like a university that received that letter and then went on to endorse the product and went on to have their athletes use the product, I would think they would have standing to say, hey, we were misled, material lies here, and we made decisions based on that. And that wouldn't be, that has nothing to do with the First Amendment. That has to do with fraud.
Ms. Riegel?
If there is knowing falsity in the statements that are made, then the First Amendment would bow out. I mean, you could have liability if a company is clearly and actively lying to the public about the quality of its products or the way it does business in a way that relates to commercial activities.
The Biden crime family.
It's a question of degree, though. Was everything that Nike said in this case a lie? I doubt it. I think not. And the First Amendment allows breathing room. Yes, you're going to have some statements on both sides that are not going to be entirely accurate or that may be judged in a different light in hindsight. But that's what the First Amendment allows. If clearly one side is making false and deceptive claims, then those will be actionable even though the First Amendment's in place.
Part of the difficulty in this case is that we don't know the facts. We have the allegations of the complaint, and depends who's reading them. I think they can be fairly read as to allege what the caller suggested, which is, in effect, a kind of fraud. The issue about standing is a little difficult because California, in this particular statute, has much broader rules about standing than normally apply in most courts and certainly in the federal court system. And there's an argument being made that that somehow violates the First Amendment.
Because you filed in this case, you're going to be in the court today.
I'm going to try to get into the courtroom. Okay. I'll be in the lawyer's lounge at the very least and hearing it from there.
Anticipating quite a crowd?
Oh, yes. I think I'm going to go right up from here to the court to try to get in. Can
you give us, and this is purely speculative, but from your knowledge of the interests of the justices, kind of handicap what you think might happen today?
Oh, I'm not a bookmaker. It's pretty hard to tell. There's
not so much on the outcome, but which justices are generally more interested in these kinds of cases and will be active?
Well, I think this is a situation in which the court, which is always an active court, will be particularly active. And if anybody gets to say more than 2 sentences in a row without getting interrupted, I'd be very surprised.
See the same?
Yes, these First Amendment cases have been traditionally very difficult for the court. There's often splintered decisions, and I suspect their ruling will be quite narrow. But it is an important case, and even with a narrow ruling, it will have a big impact.
You're going to try and find a seat?
Going to try, yes.
Next is San Francisco. Good morning.
Good morning. I think the FDA is responsible for the way they changed their procedures. It used to be you take your product and they...
So just right now, they just passed another major funding bill to prevent a government shutdown. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
You know, this is the shit that happens under your nose, you know, when they doing this fuck shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you just caught up and you nestled in your little comfort space of ignorance. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, just wanted to throw that out there.
Check it out. But now what they do is that you take your product and you give them a report saying what it does, and they just allow it. Pretty much. And then when it doesn't perform, they come back and take it off. There's over 100 products a year that disappear off the shelves when they get yanked. So they're just doing it to save money because they don't want to test anymore. They wait for complaints to come in, and I think that's what's caused a lot of trouble.
Well, part of that, of course, is the law has been changed to give the FDA less power. Things like diet supplements, of course, the FDA cannot take off the market. Doesn't even have pre-market approval for them.
If you're wondering why those 40 news organizations are joining Nike in this case, USA Today, which their parent company, Gannett, is part of that, writes that the news organizations argue that if the California decision is not reversed, businesses will be deterred from speaking to the news media. What's your reaction to that?
It's true.
I've heard that before. I don't think it's going to happen.
Businesses are naturally reluctant to get involved in controversial issues or to talk about their business operations at all, particularly when there are so many activists that are ready to pounce on anything that they say that might be wrong. And now that there's a statute that, in addition to good quality, would be subject to litigation, and now that there's a statute that gives a financial remedy to plaintiffs, they're going to be even more reluctant.
Louisa, Virginia.
Yes, I noticed there's been a lot of discussion about the civil aspect in litigation against corporations, and also there has been the argument for their rights as a personal citizen in the United States. I don't disagree with that. I understand that concept. However, I also believe there ought to be a consequence and responsibility for this corporate citizen criminally. I noticed
they're saying right now the Pentagon, the Pentagon is releasing new UFO footage right now. That's more breaking news. You know what I mean?
Oh wow.
That we wait until somebody like Enron unravels, and then we try to hold one or two or maybe 3 or 4 people responsible. Perhaps the entire board of directors and the executives within a corporation, if they were held more responsible criminally for the actions they take on acts that may not be responsible, even when they're found civilly liable.
Now look, I just want to pause this real quick. Just point out the bullshit, right? Now look, now I just told y'all that they just passed the Senate bill, right, to prevent a government shutdown, and then I sagaciously hinted at distractions and bullshit, right? Then right behind that is a news break to say the Pentagon releasing footage of UFOs and shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To distract you from whatever fucking money that they just signed a deal to spend, or whatever else the fuck they just did. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Breaking news, UFO.
Right. Now the thing is, like, again, this is a part of the corporation. This corporation that is the U.S. government. When they say things like that by way of news media, right? If it turns out to be, you know, not true, right?
Right.
Should they be held liable? Of course. But are they held liable? Come on, man.
Will they again be held liable?
Well, perhaps they would be more responsible citizens. I think this is very important, especially as large as these corporations are getting. That would be a better control on their power. Mr. Rigel, perhaps you'd comment on that aspect. Thank you.
Well, this is really not a criminal issue. Certainly, if there were criminal penalties, there would be much more care taken about everything that the company says, and you'd see even more cutting back on what a company can say. It's a speech issue.
Right.
Well, suppose that a congressional committee called the chairman of Nike before it and said, Mr. Chairman, we want to know what are the facts? And the chairman said exactly what has been alleged, he said in the complaint here, and those were proven false. That could be perjury or misleading Congress, and there could be criminal charges. And if there can be criminal charges for these facts, because it's not a general discussion about.
So if this, like, again, with the State of the Union address, that is addressing we the people, the Congress, the Senate. You know what I'm saying? So you know, of course, you know, you got the 2-party system, and of course we know how that goes. You know what I'm saying? People automatically gonna be against certain things that certain people say just because they're not the same party. But
Right.
but dealing with what this man just said right here, of saying actual material facts. You know what I'm saying? Remember that point, material facts that we said earlier. So pointing out material facts. You know what I'm saying? And in your basically you're looking back at your tenure, saying that you did this and you did that. The material, but it lacks material facts. Is that
Right.
and if that is a commercial, and if that State of the Union is a commercial speech, is that considered perjury?
Right.
Or let me rephrase that: how is that not considered perjury? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Given what they talking about right here, that's why we said again, you can't stress it enough. This shit is important. Send this shit to 50 people. You know what I'm saying?
What we ought to do in Southeast Asia. It's a question about what Nike says it is actually doing. I think there can be civil liability as well.
Is it possible to know whether or not the court was influenced by the country's mood after Enron, Anderson, and the like in accepting this case?
Well, if that were the speculation, it would probably have led it to turn it down rather than to take it up. So
why is that?
Just because the lower court decision was against Nike, and Nike asked to have it reviewed. So if anything, that would have cut against granting review. But I would be very surprised if the court was influenced at that level on this kind of a case.
Romeo, Michigan.
Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I'm thinking of the word media ethics. I know that C-SPAN can have guests on there, and things are...
Write that shit down. Media ethics.
Yep. Let me look it up.
Media ethics. You know what I'm saying? Because that's important. Dealing with the freedom of speech, First Amendment case that they got with social media. You know what I'm saying? Because again, remember they tried to say that we should have the same wiggle room that the news media has. When the news media there's already multiple times have been forced to put things on the news that they knowingly wasn't true, and they got caught. You know what I'm saying? So we got receipts for that shit too. They got caught lying about shit and had to go on TV and report that they lied about shit, pay fines and all that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They got media aesthetics, media archaeology. Go ahead.
So the news doesn't get to put what it wants on TV. The news is governed by a code of ethics, media ethics. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So media ethics should apply also to what? Social media. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You don't get to tell me I can't post shit that brings awareness to things, or you tell me that if I'm telling somebody to soak their feet with some herbs, that's medical misinformation or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But you can solicit porn and violence and all kind of degenerate type shit to innocent people, to people who can easily be manipulated. You know what I'm saying? No, there's media ethics.
Look what I just found
write
here.
That shit down.
Right. And also, write down this, what I just pulled up right here. It's called media imperialism. It says the definition is the alleged U.S. domination of global media markets, primarily those of film and television, based on the dependency relationship with small media companies worldwide, where cheap American imports are purchased in preference to indigenous content. Media imperialism creates conditions of the global homogeneity that are the basis of cultural imperialism. Proponents of this view point out all the largest media companies are based in the USA, and the Hollywood film studio directly control distribution systems in all their principal foreign markets. However, these claims have been strongly criticized because many U.S. media companies are actually owned by foreign conglomerates, in essence, Sony, and many countries are also export their media content. For example, Egypt is a major supplier of television programs for Arabic-speaking countries, and Brazilian soap operas and telenovelas are hugely popular in Portuguese and Spanish-speaking territories all around the world, including USA. Now, Just saying.
Nah, that's right on. That's right on point. What we'll be talking about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that's dealing directly with the aspect of media ethics. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You can't just say what you want. You know,
Right.
or you got to do some backdoor nefarious bullshit to get that
Right.
shit off. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's what we seeing with all of this shit right here.
Right. Facts.
That are absolutely erroneous. A lot of times I want to jump on, but Susan lets people express themselves. That's free expression. If I'm a great athlete like Jordan and I say Nike are the greatest shoes, you buy them. And or let's say, here's one, Rush Limbaugh. This is a quote. At the time, the tobacco companies were saying nicotine is not addictive. This is a quote from Rush Limbaugh. There is no conclusive proof that nicotine's addictive, and the same thing with cigarettes causing emphysema, lung cancer.
Now let me pause it right there. Now he's quoting something that Rush Limbaugh said on behalf of the media, right? Which wound up backfiring. So now again, same thing. We overlaying this with this administration who told us that, hey man, you get the vaccine, you won't get sick.
Right.
They told us that.
Right.
That's not true.
Right.
It's just not true. So do we just let that shit just be out there? You know what I'm saying? That's just cool to just now you just out here capping and you want to rewrite history like how these people on TikTok and Instagram is doing, and we're supposed to just sit back knowing that what you're saying is a lie, and we supposed to just go on along with it. No.
Right.
No, we're not doing that. You know what I'm saying?
And heart disease. This guy got away with saying that. Now, he advertises for people, but he had huge lawsuits against tobacco companies. We American people, we just don't understand. Susan opened the program about Greenspan. I ran across the book yesterday with Greenspan sitting with Ronald Reagan and Steve Bechtel when Reagan was preparing to run for president. You know about the Bechtel Corporation. There's so many things out here that, and then finally, I believe, what is a Public Citizen I read one day, Exxon drills oil wells. If it hits a bad well, the taxpayers pay for the drilling, and then they say Exxon doesn't pay taxes. And then we have another one, people going to Bermuda using a mailing address to escape taxes, and the Republicans, that Wellstone had a bill, the Republicans are defeating the Democrats' effort to stop it. Would you please address those, please?
Thanks. Well, rather than the specifics, I think what I'm hearing is your general complaint is it's hard for citizens to get good information.
That's certainly the case, and we support the truthful information. I was the lawyer who brought the first commercial speech case and won it in the Supreme Court involving the right to advertise the price of prescription drugs. And in that lawsuit, we emphasized that the Commonwealth of Virginia had outlawed the advertising at 30-some-odd other states. And we said consumers have the right to information so long as it's true. And the problem here is that the information is alleged not to be true.
Mr. Riegel?
It has to be true about the quality of the product. Certainly, cases like Rush Limbaugh and other media outlets are trying to make a profit. They have a commercial interest. They want to be controversial. They want to raise issues that people are interested in.
Wow.
And occasionally, they're going to make statements that are false. But that doesn't mean that California law should provide a remedy to people because they're trying to make a buck and they make a false statement.
Wow.
Next is a call from Brandon, Florida. Go ahead, please.
Mr. Morrison, you are a true patriot.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope Mr. Riegel will join.
Are defeating the Democrats' effort to stop it. Would you please address those, please?
Thanks. Well, rather than the specifics, I think what I'm hearing is your general complaint is it's hard for citizens to get good information.
That's certainly the case, and
because of shit like this
we support the truthful information. I was the lawyer who brought the first commercial speech case and won it in the Supreme Court involving the right to advertise the price of prescription drugs. And in that lawsuit, we emphasized that the Commonwealth of Virginia had outlawed the advertising at 30-some-odd other states. And we said consumers have the right to information so long as it's true. And the problem here is that the information is alleged not to be true.
Mr. Riegel?
It has to be true about the quality of the product. Certainly, cases like Rush Limbaugh and other media outlets are trying to make a profit. They have a commercial interest. They want to be controversial. They want to raise issues that people are interested in. And occasionally, they're going to make statements that are false. But that doesn't mean that California law should provide a remedy to people because they're trying to make a buck and they make a false statement.
Next is a call from Brandon, Florida.
I just want
Go
to make
ahead,
sure
please.
that y'all heard him clear.
Mr. Morrison, you are a true patriot.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope Mr. Riegel will join your group. He's just as smart as you are, but he's just on the wrong side. People such as you can reveal the truth and nurture people's trust in business and government. So let me know how to donate to your group.
www.citizen.org.
Well, I'll have to look it up in the library because I don't have a computer. Thank you anyway.
And if you write to Public Citizen in Washington, D.C., I'm sure the post office will find you. National Association of Manufacturers has a website. In the interest of fairness here, it's NAM.org. Let's take our next telephone call. It is from Belton, Missouri.
Yes. I'm curious about the false advertising part of it.
You see how many
but
people
also somebody called in about a lawsuit in Florida where somebody was fired because they would not report the lies that the Fox News wanted to do. I want to know more about that one too. Lies are lies. I don't care who they are, you know. And if we're being told that, as we know we are, then we should simply stop buying from all of these people. The reason the media is behind this is obviously because they're going to lose money if Nike stops advertising. I mean, it's false advertising.
Thanks very much. Do you have any more on the Fox case?
No, but really what this case is about, First Amendment issues, if there are lies, then certainly they can...
Was false advertisement and false gratifying. You know what I'm saying? False veneration. No. All that shit was falsehood, man.
Be countered in the First Amendment debate and by boycotts of products, and companies clearly have an interest in telling the truth. I mean,
sometimes
they clearly have an interest in telling the truth and in representing their products properly and the way they run their companies properly. This issue is really about money for plaintiffs who feel that they want to bring extra pressure besides the pressure that normally exists in the exchange of free ideas against a company to prevent them from overstepping their bounds.
Nike takes this position in this case, even if the only thing the court could do was to make a declaratory judgment that said that Nike lied. That's too much. The First Amendment doesn't allow that. So it may be about money, although the California court has not spoken on that issue, but it may be about other things as well. And the real question is, how close can Nike come to the line without saying this is an advertisement and still make its false statements? We think it came too close here.
State College, Pennsylvania.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for C-SPAN and thanks for Public Citizen. I'm just calling to say that the American people really have very little faith anymore in our corporations. And I think that every American should be required to read Arianna Huffington's book, Pigs at the Trough. It's time that we gain control.
Write that down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Pigs at the Trough. Get that book, you know.
Right.
If you're a researcher, you know what I'm saying? And you want to further expound on what's being divulged here. Get that book. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What he said it was again?
Run that back.
Pig something.
Pigs in the Trough.
Pigs in the Trough. Yeah, Pigs in the Trough. Get that book.
These corporations, especially going offshore, not paying taxes, and they are really not good American citizens.
Thanks. Since we're just about out of time, I'm going to ask by way of summary. Mr. Riegel, how will a favorable decision for Nike in this case help consumers feel better about American corporations?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's the
It might
answer.
be. It might. Yeah. Right. That's fitting. I think he got chopped, or that's the end of the video.
Yeah.
Is that the end of the video? I think so. I think that's it. I mean that's pretty. I'm looking
Too
at the
much.
shit that is at the end of the queue. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, listen. Let's keep it a bean. That motherfucker was about to say some fork tongue shit any fucking way. You know what I'm saying? So it is funny because when we first threw that video up, it was like, all right, we're gonna deal with it until we get tired of it. And I guess the universe is letting us know we done with that video. So I think we proved our point in what we talking about here. You know what I'm saying? Now what's deep about this shit, as we close this out, is that the company in question here is Nike. You know what I'm saying? And and in mythology, Nike slays the bull. You know what I'm saying? That's deep. So you think about the bull, like the bull on Wall Street, right? You know what I'm saying? This company Nike, you know what I'm saying, that slays the bull, you know what I'm saying? Joe Biden and the Biden administration, the Biden crime family is moving like Nike. They're slaying the bull on Wall Street. Now, for all intents and purposes, in some aspects, that might be a good thing. You know what I'm saying? But at the expense of innocent people, obviously not. You know what I'm saying?
Obviously not.
So as we close this shit out, we want people to have integrity with certain topics like this. You know what I'm saying? Send this shit to 50 people. You know what I'm saying? Share if you don't care. Share if you care. Share if you don't care. Fuck it. Somebody that there's somebody out there that care about shit like this, even though
Somebody
you don't.
care enough for the both of us.
You'll get around to it, but by and by. You know what I mean? As the elders say.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Facts. For real.
So I think we can just leave it there. You know what I'm saying? If you come across vital information, it's your obligation to share it with the nation. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Yeah. And if it takes a village, we built this one. Words without action have no meaning. Salute to y'all for tuning in. Yeah. Share if you care. Share if you don't, because there's somebody that care enough. Right.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying that, somebody care enough for the both of us. You know what I mean? So, share it with somebody, and they'll share it back with you. Share what they learn. For sure.
It don't cost you nothing to tap the screen 3 times. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, with that
and
said, you know what I'm saying? I say peace and benedictions. You know what I'm saying? It's better to know something than to believe it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Truth is
and try it because you could achieve it.
You know what I mean?
There it is. Right.
Better to know something than to believe it. Truth is undefeated. And we're gonna sign off and wrap this shit up. You know what I mean?
Right. Peace. Pope and ENT.
Only you and only you can prevent cognitive dissonance. You know what I'm saying? We love y'all, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Look.
Oh, I'm about to head out.
Right. For sure. On the head out. Exactly.
That's a little bit too much for the day. I'm about to head out. You know what I mean?
I'm about to pull off. I'm about to pull off. Congratulations. Man, oh man.
We out.
Between the coming of the one and the end of the war.
Is it over?
Neo's presence within the Matrix sparked a new exodus of potentials.
Freeze it.
But because they were unable to stop Neo, the machines turned their attention to those within their grasp. Sentinels set a trap for one of our ships. And from the ship's mainframe, they extracted a list of potentials. The agents leveled their wrath on the helpless, and Neo was the only one who could stand against them.
Now you know that this don't make no kind of sense. Scared of pain, so you fear hurt. I don't celebrate till the body's near dirt. Go to hell, they gon' tell you I was there first. Every opponent would tell you I was there worse. Having bad hunger pains and severe thirst. Have your earth in all black in the rear hearse. Too sticky to let the drama slide. And the sight of the blood will leave you traumatized. I can't do no wrong, least in my mama eyes. I got a gun in the truck, that's little mama size. That boy died from vocal homicide. The voice, the flow, and the way that he harmonized. Those that's real see the truth beyond the lies. In real life, I'm living proof we on the rise. Yeah, I was too smart to play with the dummies. Rather you kill yourself, save me the money. From the bottom, I don't mind if you pay me in 20s. They pop a lot of shit, but soon as you see them, they mummies. Ha ha ha, you guys is funny. We fresh to death, they alive and bummy. Plug told me 3 words, supply the country. I told him that the bullets and the 45s is chunky. That's why they say you can never get too comfy. Trips out of town, my lump sums come monthly. Might as well all team up and come jump me. This is uneven, I'm the only one breathing. Everybody get they turn, it's sun season. I'm only here for that paper, one reason. Nobody cares though, everybody's a weirdo. Dudes watching your back, tell me who watching theirs though. All you gonna see is the fire from out the air holes. Stick up kids get the desire to hit your earlobes. Left lane, all you hear is my gears, yo. Crown been in my closet for a couple of years, yo. Okay, enough with the foolery and the costume jewelry. It ain't much you can do to me. The art of war ain't new to me. Little nigga, you better Google me. The city was mine after they said Big's eulogy. Oh man. Jadakiss season. The massacre. Telling you, I don't know if I can guarantee your safety next week. Jadakiss season. T5 DOA. Don't ever forget that.